In an industry stuffed with marketing bullshit, empty promises, and Chinese-suited liars, one woman's had enough. She knows what it's like to have the wrong clients, no money, and no time for fun. But she also knows how to fix it. And on the Business for Superheroes show, she promises to tell the down and dirty truth about business, sales, and running away with the circus. Here's your host, Vicky Fraser.
Hello and welcome to the Business for Superheroes show. I'm Vicky Fraser, and this week I'm not here with Joe because I'm in a hotel with my friends Mark and Cherry. Say hi, Mark and Cherry.
Hello.
Hi.
I've got Mark Cottle with me, who is my business buddy, and he's the person who kicks my ass every week, and his partner Cherry, who is also his amazing right-hand HR manager. And we're going to be talking a little bit about outsourcing today because everybody should outsource as much as they possibly can. So, Mark, tell us a bit about yourself and what you do.
Well, I'm a bit embarrassed, but I'm an accountant. But I haven't done any accounting for about 2.5 years now. So my story is we started a business in 2011. We started our accounting firm. And back then in Australia, that was the year that Xero accounting software took off. I was also aware of the low cost of labour in the Philippines. So what I did was marry up the idea in my head of putting together an accounting team in the Philippines to use Xero software and serve clients, which I did not yet have in Australia. Cool. So I travelled to the Philippines on a trip, had a look around, and we hired an accountant, and we did that. We started building our accounting practice. Along the way, we picked up an award for the most innovative accounting firm in Australia. Cool. Friends, peers in the industry started to pay attention to what we were doing. We got written up in the BRW, which is, I guess, like the Forbes magazine of Australia.
Nice.
So we got mentions in there. So we started to get some attention. So very much by accident, some of these guys started asking me to help them set up teams in the Philippines, just like I'd done. So we did that. I had 14 empty seats in my office. I thought it'll be a little bit of extra pocket money. And what I didn't know was there was a huge demand for this. So
he says a bit of extra pocket money. Tell them how much you're turning over now.
3.5 mil, and growing at about 0.5 mil every few months. So
which is awesome.
Yes. Yeah, it's insane. So that 14 seats was only meant to be pocket money. But what happened in the first year, that was 2014, we started doing that for other people. We ran up from our own 3 staff for our own firm up to 72 staff by the end of the first year. And we're 2.5 years into that now, and we're pushing 200 staff now. So, busy times.
Really busy times.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you, it's awesome because I've kind of watched this business. Because how long have we been buddying?
Since about November 2014. So you came on, I met you right at the end of my first year. And I remember I was really sick when I met you.
Yeah.
I just travelled to Ireland.
Yeah.
We sat next to each other at that seminar.
Yeah.
And I was a wreck.
Yeah, he was. He looked like shit.
I was in and out of hospital when I went back. It was pretty hard. But, that was the shock of adding 70 staff to your business in a year. So.
But no, is it seriously? Because I've kind of watched you grow from, not obviously right at the beginning, but watched you guys grow from there to where you are now. And it's just been incredible. It's been so incredible. And I'm like, this is my awe face that you can't see right now. But it's really exciting. And
you can't predict this. We had no idea this was going to happen. I got no idea what it's going to look like. I keep thinking it's just too good to be true, and I'm thinking, this is going to end any day. I keep thinking this, and I'm like, but it doesn't.
No.
Clients just keep coming, and they keep finding me, and they keep having great outcomes doing what we're teaching them to do.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that in a sec.
Absolutely.
But before I do, there was something that, because we're really down on ourselves. We were just talking about this a minute ago, weren't we? About how we're all like, like I'm always going on about how great Joe is, and he's always going on about how great I am, and both of us are like, but I'm not great. And you were saying the same thing.
I want what you have, where you have a business with no staff and it's quite geographically independent. You want what I have, which is this
which is 3.5 million quid.
That's revenue, not profit. Big difference. But we all seem to want what each other has, but really just be happy.
Yeah, be grateful for what you have.
Yes.
So that's cool. Anyway, enough kind of
slap ourselves around a bit.
Yeah, enough of that kind of woo-woo stuff. We were going to talk about outsourcing because that's what you do. So, well, basically, why would a company outsource?
Right. Let me get the terminology. So I actually call this offshoring. So the way I would describe outsourcing in the accounting world, it's when you would pass a tax return job. Maybe it goes off to an outsourcing company, usually in India.
Yeah.
They'll do the job, send it back, and it's done. What I do is different to that. I call it offshoring. It's your team. They're just sitting somewhere else. So in outsourcing, some other business is responsible for the job being done.
Right.
Like with copywriting, you could outsource a copywriting job. You would expect to get that back completed, and then you pass it on. With this, you are raising up your own team. It's just like having an employee sitting here in the UK working from home. They just happen to be sitting in the Philippines.
Okay.
Much warmer.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's not. I heard it was summer, but
Real summer in
bullshit.
the Philippines.
Yeah, real
It's not
summer.
summer.
It's not cold though.
No.
And you brought a coat this time.
I
So.
still have a coat there.
Same one.
Yeah.
Well, we saw in the what station we were in a station the other day in the London Underground, and there was a sign. It was a heat warning.
Yeah.
You know, be careful. You get dehydrated. Make sure you have water.
Don't mock us with our heat warnings.
I couldn't believe it. I had a coat on. The wind is flying through. I'm like, are you fucking serious?
You see, now he's mocking us for our heat warnings. This is where I'm going to say that a couple of years ago he came over in winter without a coat from the Philippines
Yeah.
and whinged for a week.
Yes. Refused to buy another one.
Anyway, so why would a company outsource?
There's two reasons. One is cost savings.
Yeah.
But the other one, which I've learned, is more importantly, the cost savings is actually just having the resources. Many businesses, so we're dealing with a lot of clients, most of them can't find good staff here in the UK,
Right.
and in Australia, where I'm from. So we've got clients here in the UK and Australia. They can't find good staff.
Why do you think that is? That's interesting. Why do you think that is?
It's a good question. I'm not sure. I think in the accounting world, it's they're having trouble attracting talent and keeping talent.
Right.
In the firms, people not necessarily willing to do certain work.
Right.
So in the Philippines, I have no issue with that.
Okay.
They're willing. They work hard, and there's an abundance of people who will help you in your business. There's no attitude. Bring the bullshit with it. It's good.
Like Cherry.
Yeah, she gives me fucking shit all the time, but let's.
Oh yeah, but you
talk
deserve
about
it.
Cherry does an amazing job for us.
Yeah. What do you do in the business, Cherry?
Okay, so my day-to-day tasks would be dealing with the HR and also client relations. So I'm training two managers right now. One would be from recruitment and then one would be from the HR side. So I'm the go-to person if a client would have some questions, either be about operations, about recruitment, or if they want gifts to be sent to their staff. I also handle those things. And then I also handle the HR side when it comes to guiding also the staff if they have problems. So they go to me or they go to Mark as well. Yeah. So we're like the father and the mother in the company.
Nice.
Yeah.
That HR stuff actually is a massive chunk of the business. Like we're growing we're now mid-July, I think we are. From January to May this year, we grew at 8.2 people per month.
That's
additional
incredible.
staff. Then in June, we just added 14.
Yeah.
I had 5 staff that started on Monday this week.
Wow. So you don't know who half your staff are?
I have no idea. No idea. So that HR side of it that Cherry's involved with is massive.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so back to the whole outsourcing thing then. And I'm going to ask from a point of view of me, because I'm like a freelancer on my own, and I know that a lot of the people who listen to this podcast are, all 3 of them. No, there are more people that listen than that.
Well, there's 3 of us here now, so there must be 6.
We've done all that listenership. Yay! So can people like me outsource offshore to the Philippines? And
People like you do it.
Okay, cool.
We've got clients that do what you do, and
how do they do that then? How does that work? What do they outsource? What are your
it's
top
very
tips?
very simple. You can have someone in the Philippines doing anything for you that does not require a geographical presence.
Okay.
Which is a lot of stuff. So, I could give you examples. You could have someone helping you with the podcast. You could have someone setting up email campaigns. You could have someone doing your client, billings and different little admin type tasks that are just annoying and take you away from what makes you the most money. You can have someone dealing with all that. You can have someone dealing with your product. So if you've got product returns and customer service and things like that, you can have someone doing that. You can have someone booking your travel. So I'm here in the UK now. I just turn up. I get a printout and I just go. My staff handle all the travel bookings for me.
Cool.
A good example, last year I travelled up Australia with some staff. I was driving. We had been driving on the road most of the day. I had a bit more energy, so we had a hotel booked in a particular town, and I figured I could drive another 100 kilometres, so I was going to do it. So I rang from my car somewhere in Australia, I rang the office in the Philippines, and I said, all right, I want you to find me a hotel in whatever town it was, another 100 kilometres up the road. Book me a hotel there, then cancel the existing hotel that I have. And I don't know, 20 or 30 minutes later, that was done.
Cool.
They emailed through the details, and I just kept driving to the new hotel. Didn't have to stop the car. I didn't make any phone calls or bookings or research, aside from calling the office and instructing them what to do.
Yeah.
You can have someone in the Philippines order a pizza for you if you want to. Anything. I've got people there that are doing newsletters for, a lot of businesses do a monthly newsletter. I've got staff that are writing those newsletters there, writing blog posts, managing Facebook and social media and different things like that.
Yeah.
Literally anything. And all the admin stuff that goes on behind your business. There's nothing you cannot do there.
So the admin stuff that takes up all of your time, basically, that you don't want to be doing yourself because you want to be focusing on your thing that you do.
Absolutely. And the thing to consider is you want to make sure that you're systematizing it and creating good manual. So if you put someone on the Philippines and they're going to do all these tasks for you, get them to document it. So if let's say they're doing something on the computer, have them record the screen, speak to the computer, and record a 5 or 10 minute video of how they're doing a particular task, and then it's permanently there.
That's a great idea, actually.
And if that person leaves,
then
you've got something there to train the next person. And also if your team grows, you have a tool there that can train the new staff that come in.
So you've got continuity.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's a really good idea, and actually that's probably a good piece of advice for all the freelancers, anyways, to do this. Even if you don't outsource, document your. Build manuals of stuff so that you can outsource easier, because I'm thinking that'll probably make the training easier, won't it?
Absolutely. Yep. Freelancers are notorious for doing everything themselves.
Yeah, we are.
And in the end, if you could free up 1 or 2 days a week of the bullshit and either take some time off or do what actually earns you the most money, that's the best way to go about it.
Yeah.
And it takes some pressure off as well, because you've got someone there to help. So, if you need to go away and travel, you've got someone that can, the other one is they can monitor your email. A lot of our admin staff in Manila are actually managing the inbox for their employer.
That's a really cool thing, actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because email is a terrible, terrible thing. Well, it's a wonderful thing, but it's a terrible thing.
Yeah, I've always gone by the inbox zero philosophy. So every night my inbox is empty. But I heard of a new one recently called zero. No, I've heard of a new one recently called zero inbox. Don't even have an email. Yeah. You have someone else managing it, have a help desk type setup.
Right, okay.
So your client emails you, they get a nice reply. You've got an admin person that'll handle it for you, and you just deal with the escalated issues and things like that. So you're literally uncontactable. That's
actually a really cool thing for some people. I probably wouldn't do that because I'm very much me and my business, and I one of the things that I take pride in is the fact that I reply to all the emails I get. It might not always be more than a one-liner, but that's kind of my brand. But for other people who that isn't necessary for, definitely think about what Mark's just said, because email is such a time suck.
Yeah. I've personally gone from probably around 150 emails a day right down to probably less than 50 these days. And I just don't get a lot of email, and most of it I just delete it.
Yeah.
If staff send me a long email, I delete it and just tell them to call me.
Yeah.
I just don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, that's also a really good thing to do. If somebody sends you an email with 5 or 6 different points in it, do what Mark just delete it. I say this to Joe all the time. He's like, I've got like 400 emails. His inbox makes my head hurt. It would make you cry.
Yes.
And I'm like, just delete them all. He's like, I can't do that. I'm like, they'll get back in touch with you if it's important.
It's called email bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Control A, delete. The important stuff will come back.
Yeah.
Somehow it will. Yeah.
It totally will. You should totally do that. Okay, so we've established what outsourcing is and offshoring and why you should do it. What are your top tips for if people do decide to outsource?
Well, the top one would be around the training. So where this model can break down is if the communication sucks. So make sure if you're going to put someone on in the Philippines, for example, who's going to be an admin assistant for you, for example. Make sure you're treating them like part of your team.
Yep.
So you want to be talking to them every day, making sure they've got things to do. So a good example is when I first went to the Philippines, so late 2011, early 2012, I used a service much like what I actually provide for other businesses now. The first 6 months I used a service like that. I sat in a room. I used to go up every month and train my employee, and sat in a room. There were about 30 staff in the room, plus me, and one of them was mine. And at any point in time, I could look around that room, and half a dozen of these employees were fast asleep at their desk, literally
asleep,
head down. The guy opposite me was actually he was like a help desk support for a telecommunications company in Australia, and so he was on his own there. He had a phone that would ring. This guy would be fast asleep on his desk. The phone would ring, and he would just sit up and answer the phone. I'd be trying to wake up, but he was in the zone. So he had this nailed. But the thing is, it's not because they were lazy; it's because they were not being managed.
Yeah.
So they weren't given enough things to do, and that's one of the things you got to treat. They're not out of sight, out of mind. You want to treat them and nurture their career and look after them like you would any other employee. Yeah. So, and for freelancers, this is going to be a challenge. It's something new in most freelancers' business. If they're used to just working on their own, you've got to consider there's two people.
And it's not something you can just kind of send a job off and expect it to get done. You have to actually put the investment in time and training and effort in.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But it pays off, I guess.
Absolutely, yeah. And none of it's that hard.
No.
You just got to make sure you do it. So that communication is really one of the biggest issues. If it's going to fail, it's because of that.
Yeah.
And I often find if there's any niggly issues in the business, it's because there's a communication issue. And almost always it's on the Australian or the British side rather than the Philippines.
Right.
They're sitting there, they're good to go.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of unblocking any issues you have here.
Okay.
So, that's important. Other things you can do would be around, list out all the bullshit you do in your business.
Yeah.
List it all out. And you'd be amazed. I reckon you could probably offshore 80% of what you're doing.
Yeah. Actually, that's a really good part. I'll stop you there because I want everybody to do this exercise, and I get my inner circle guys to do this. You can join if you like. businessforsuperheroes.com/inner-circle. But one of the first things that I get my inner circle guys to do, and my clients, and I do it myself not as often as I should, is document every minute of your day for a couple of weeks. Write down everything you do from the second you wake up to the second you go to bed. And it sounds like a crazy thing to do, but you'll be shocked actually at how much time you waste on
Facebook
bullshit.
Yes.
But not just that. I mean, that is an eye-opener, and it does encourage you to be more productive. But the stuff that you sort of go through and think, well, could somebody else do that? And the answer is almost invariably yes.
Yes. So, and particularly sole traders who are used to working on their own, they're control freaks.
Yeah, we totally are, yeah.
Yep, and that's where you can end up having, you go through that list and you try and convince yourself that you really need to be the one doing it. I call bullshit on that.
Yeah.
Most of what you do, someone else can do it. And some of them can do it better than you.
Yeah, totally.
I suck at admin. I hate admin. You give me forms, documents, I delete it, I shred it, I put it aside. I hate filling out forms with a passion. But I've got people in my office that are really good at that.
Yeah.
So where do you think it goes? I had a big insurance thing I had to do recently, a life insurance. We were setting up life insurance, me and my business partner, and man, the documents we had to do for that, I didn't even touch it. I just gave it all straight to one of my admin staff.
So that's interesting, actually, because here I've got a question for you. Because one of the things that's driving me nuts at the moment, it's personal as well as business. Because that's the other thing, you can get them to do personal stuff as well, can't you? It's not all business.
I've got staff that know everything about me.
Yeah.
It's scary, yeah.
Cool. Yeah. I shall hit them up when I'm in the Philippines.
You know everything about me anyway.
That's true. But one of the things that's driving me nuts at the moment is I've got this fucking massive pile of paperwork. And since we moved house in the last couple of months, I don't know if I've mentioned it, I've been I don't want paperwork. Who wants paper? So I'm evernoting it all. So if, for example, I had a person in the Philippines, could I just FedEx an entire fucking box of stuff to you guys?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you could stick it all in Evernote and categorise it and make sure it's all there for the taxman and then burn it.
Yep, you can do that. And a better way to do it would be simply to find a service here somewhere where you can chuck it all in a scanner.
Yeah.
And we do it all the time. So in Australia, we still get, because I still run an accounting firm as well, just in my spare time. But we
he doesn't have spare time.
No, my business partner handles that stuff. So what happens from the tax office, we still get fucking so much paper from them.
Yeah.
And John, my partner, we don't have any staff in Australia. They're all in the Philippines. So all he does he chucks that pile of paper into one of those flatbed
Scanner.
scanners,
Yeah.
and it all goes in. It goes in as one PDF file up into the Philippines.
Right.
Not into the Philippines, but our staff there access it.
Yeah.
And they then cut apart this big PDF file and then sort and sift and file the documents where they need to be on the client directories and things like that in our server.
Right.
So yes, you could, but I wouldn't bother FedExing. I'd just chuck it in a scanner,
Yeah.
have someone else sift and sort it. Then make sure you're opting. This is where you got to make sure in your bank and things like that, if you've got a lot of bank statements coming, go in and opt out of paper statements.
Oh,
Take the
I don't
time
have
to do
paper
it.
statements.
Yeah. So anything you're getting that's paper, just make sure it's the last time you're going to get that paper.
Yeah.
So
that's really good advice, actually, and you should go do that right now.
yes, we're full of good advice, aren't we?
Full of good advice. Yeah.
Yes.
Full of good advice. So that's really cool, because I should also kind of point out that I don't have a person in the Philippines with Mark at the moment, purely because I couldn't fill up a full-time person at the moment.
Yep.
And that's one of your things, isn't it? You need to have a kind of full-time person. I do, however, use my amazing assistant, Harriet. Hi, Harriet. Who does a load of my stuff for me. And that's been a really good exercise in kind of finding out whether or not I could actually let go of some of this stuff.
Yep.
And she does an amazing job for me. And I think that eventually, when I've got enough stuff to do, I probably am, well, I know I will take on somebody with you guys, because it will be a full-time role then. So yeah, if you're thinking that you can't let go of something, just let go of one thing to start with a random person in the UK.
Yep.
See if you can do it.
There are other ways to do it. I would be cautious. So there's a website called Upwork, which is a bit like your Elancer type things.
Yeah.
You can get people on there doing things for you, but it's hit and miss. I've done tons and tons of contracts on there, and it's very hit and miss. Some of it's really good, most of it's shit.
Yeah.
The staff are unstable, and that's where what we do. They're all in one big office, nearly 200 people. It's a big team, a lot of camaraderie. So you've got a lot of stability. So it's very low staff turnover. You could, if you wanted to test this, go onto a website like upwork.com, hire somebody on there. You may get lucky and they may do a really good job for you. But have a go. You'll get a feel for it, because it's a fairly similar setup. That can work. So the other thing too is that a lot of people come to me and say they don't think they have enough to give someone. Again, I usually call bullshit, because what happens is once they start and they've got a full-time resource sitting there, it's amazing how much things they can give to them. I've seen it so many times now with our clients where they've, Mark, I'm worried I haven't got enough for a full-timer. I'm like, just give it a go and see. And, for me, I had the same problem. When I started, we had no business. Like, we literally were a startup with no clients. And so I hired one accountant, and I remember I put in her contract that she would help me with marketing, newsletters, admin, and anything I needed doing, because I was really worried we didn't have enough accounting work for her. I never had to get her to do any of that stuff. I think she did one newsletter for me really early on, but it was never an issue. She was busy ever since we hired her. Cool. So I think you'll find that when you have someone there, that issue actually vanishes. It's just a mental stumbling block.
Yeah.
Because
much like the letting go of the control.
Exactly. If you're suddenly paying for somebody full time, you're going to find a lot of stuff you can give them. So,
that's true.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Well, we've pretty much reached 22 minutes ish. So. That's probably enough of that. I'm probably going to get you back at some point.
Oh, we can talk all day about this.
Yeah, because there's a million and one things that you can talk about that these guys will, just, if you want to grow your business. Because a lot, the bottleneck in businesses like mine is the time for money thing. And if you can get rid of your, half the stuff you spend your time on that doesn't earn you money, then you can suddenly double your income.
Yep. Most people don't do it though.
No.
This stuff is very basic, but most people don't do the basics.
No.
So,
and I'm actually quite proud of myself that I'm using somebody to do a few things. So I've just got to take the next step at some point.
You want to listen to Vicky? I've been working with Vicky for quite a while now, and she knows her stuff.
Oh, thanks.
That's all right. Love yourself.
I made him say that.
Yeah, that's right. The awesomeness in this room right now.
Oh yeah. Just we're bursting with awesomeness.
That's right.
We're actually going to go out for dinner soon because Joe's on his way over to meet us, which is quite cool. So.
Did you find a place, Jerry?
Not yet. I was supposed to, and
well, why are you on the podcast? Get off the podcast and find a restaurant. Come on, man. You think you've hired a good admin assistant? And
you see, this is the kind of shit that Cherry has to put up with
every day. It's like this.
Yes.
Right. Well, there's a row in the room now, so I'm going to say thank you so much, Cherry, and thank you so much, Mark. Really appreciate it. Guys, have a splendid week. Try and give some stuff away. Not like give away, I mean, give other people jobs to do that you don't have to do. If you haven't bought my book already, buy my book. If you haven't joined my inner circle, give it some thought and be good. And if you can't be good, don't get caught. Bye.
Like what you've just heard? Tell your colleagues, tell your friends, send them to www.businessforsuperheroes.com/podcast.